Hello everyone and welcome to KozStreamsTV. So we're going over and taking a look at how this week did. We are week 1 done. We're looking at, we're taking a look at the 3 tanks I ran with this week, the Monk, the Warrior, and the Druid. Let's see how they did. Let's see what their vaults are, and let's begin. So for the Monk, I actually ended up getting a few upgrades in Mythic, and then I did craft a new item. So in Mythic, we ended up getting the new set of bracers. I threw avoidance on it, as I should, but I also got a normal pair of bracers out of raid. Those are the normal ones there. Kept the ones in Mythic. Obviously, they're high to minor level. That's what we're going for. Well, the other thing I did is I recrafted my belt at a higher item level. Reason being is that right now, the well-fed buff is worth keeping, and that is the item I want to be crafting for my Monk anyway, so that's what I'm keeping on the Monk. Those are the upgrades I got for the Monk. Everything else has remained the same. We did, however, get a bunch of upgrades running keys this week. We've got 3 weapons, 2 shoulders, a chest, and a headpiece. So let's take a look at those right now. All right, so from Mythic Plus this week, we did actually get a bunch of upgrades. We ended up getting a one-handed fist weapon, a one-handed axe, and a one-handed mace. However, all 3 of these, when simmed against Jaroon, actually come out below DPS. So there's no reason to upgrade right now, even though the item limit is higher. Survivability isn't a problem. We also got shoulder and chest, and we're going to hang on to these for Catalyst, depending on what we get from raid this week. So we're going to be opening the vault as in Brewmaster spec. I want to see what I get. This is week 1. Doesn't really matter. Everything's going to be an upgrade, hopefully. So let's see what I ended up getting in my vault today as Brewmaster. So although this is a Mythic track trinket with avoidance, it's not actually very good. We don't use haste as a monk, so it's kind of useless for us. So let's continue on and take a look at some of the other items we got in our vault. All right, so looks like we got Signet of the Last Elder, Bis Ring off Igra. This is definitely something we'd want to keep. However, it is heroic. It is the second boss, so we're going to be doing this a lot. Probably no point in upgrading right now, so we're going to skip it and not take this week. So we did also get our best weapon from Rashok, but it's normal track, so we're going to skip it. We're not going to take it this week. We have simmed it. It actually sims lower than our current 450 Jaroon, so we're going to carry on all of the weapons we actually got this week. The one-handers, different combinations, simmed at max level. None of them actually passed Jaroons yet, so we're holding off for best in slot from heroic Rashok. Outside of the weapon, we also got some wrists. Obviously, we just talked about, we got 2 sets of wrists. Not needed. We're skipping this altogether. There's also a set of gloves. Obviously, Mythic track, we don't need the gloves. That is going to be a tier piece anyway. We're not taking that today. We've got 3 other pieces we can catalyze, chest, shoulders, a head. So we're going to carry on. So the item we're going to be taking is the Band of Twisted Bark because it is on the Mythic track. It's not our best in slot, but it is heavy on crit, which will improve our damage, and then it also gives us some mastery for dodge. So that's what we're going to go with this week. That is how the Monk's looking. All right, so let's take a quick look at our IO. This week, we got an 18 Waycrest Manor done. We got a 17 Blackrook Hold, 18 Galakrond's Fall, 17 Darkheart Thicket, 18 Everbloom, 18 Throne of the Tides. We failed at 18 and a 17, unfortunately. Very difficult dungeon. I did a 15 Atal. Didn't bother circling back, even though that is free IO. We'll get it next time it comes around. And then for the final key, we ended up doing a 16 Marazon's Rise. Overall, we got 1765 for IO. That's not that bad. I'm happy with that score. All in all, it was a good week. 1765 IO. We're going to push some keys up this week and see what we get. We're going to do a recap the following week as well. All right, so what do we got here next? Next, we're looking at the Warrior. Quick overview of the Warrior's IO. I didn't do as much as I did on the Monk, but I did want to get at least 8 keys done. So he's 1105. We did end up getting a 17 Galakrons, a 16 Waycrest, a 14 Marazon's Rise, a 14 Overtime Thicket. That was a rough key, and I don't know why. And then we have an 12 Everbloom and a 7 Blackrook. Obviously, I didn't get the other 2. We'll do those this week. But overall, how does Warrior feel? Honestly, Warrior felt really good this week. Few upgrades on the Warrior. We've ended up getting our best in slot ring from Blackrook Hold. Haste first. Not only did we get the ring, we also got it with a socket. That is huge. Really excited for that. Then we're looking at a crit verse ring from Lord Waycrest Signet, which is from Waycrest Manor. Crit verse plus avoidance. Obviously, I'm not big on crit, but hey, the avoidance plus the eye level upgrade, I'm definitely taking that on my tank. I haven't done any upgrades yet in regards to getting gear. He hasn't been as lucky. He has been lucky with rings. That's about it. He has a couple pieces in here just from doing the campaign quests. But overall, He's kind of still looking stock. I am going to end up upgrading his belt. I'm going to do the same thing I did with my monk. I do have a 467 here, so I'm on the fence whether I do my ring or my belt. But right now, it is looking like belt. I think that's the way to go. How does Warrior feel this week? Fantastic, actually. I am still very dependent on healers, just due to the amount. Sometimes there's a lot of damage. Shield block is your friend, but if shield block is down and shield wall is down, you're in a bit of trouble. So you are dependent on your healer. Only having impending victory to heal does make it a little more difficult, but Warrior felt really good. Doing the higher keys, I felt strong, I felt safe. I wasn't really worried about dropping too low on health. And because Warrior takes so little damage, the healer can focus on other members of the party, which makes it a lot easier for them, and you can just keep pulling. So you can do some pretty big pulls with a Warrior, as long as you can group it all together, pull shield block. It is a ton of fun. So, I've got some background footage of Waycrest, and it was a blast. So, let's take a look at what we got in our vault today for the Warrior. Like I said, didn't really get many upgrades. So let's see what we get. Drum roll, please. All right, let's see. We are looking at 473 Mythic Track Armor. Well, this is not Mythic Track Armor. I apologize, it's just Mythic Armor. But we've got chest, we've got the chest, and then we have the egg. So this is the worst trinket in the game, and there's literally no point in having it here. So this is a dead item. However, we can get some upgrades here. So if I maintain, let's keep the chest. We have 2 chests to pick from, so it doesn't matter. We're going to catalyze either one. We're going to take the higher item level one, and we're going to carry on. And we ended up getting a 17 Black Rook Hold. That should be a fairly okay key this week. It is tyrannical, but I am looking forward to it. So let's carry on to the next character, the Druid. Okay, so next up we have the Druid. How did the Druid feel this week? Honestly, I didn't have a chance to run very high keys, unfortunately. We did get a couple done, though. 623 rating. But we only got a few keys done because he's the last key, and I pumped out all 4 of these keys really late last night. But overall, he didn't feel terrible. And it's really nice to be able to pull some packs from a distance using Moonfire. It can reach very far, which is a fantastic thing to have. With Moonfire, I'm able to pull things in a little easier. Thrash, thrash, thrash. I've got aggro. It's not a problem. Healing was great. DPS was great. They still very strong. They still feel very strong. However, the only thing I've ran is up to a 16 right now, and we didn't fail it. I'll show some footage of this in the background, but the 16 Everbloom was terrible. Do not go into that key without having a Poison Dispel, a Tiger's Lust, or a Freedom, and just understand the party knows that those Dread Petals, the buff they put on the tank. So the Dread Petal put a Dread Petal Pollen on the tank. This Pollen slows the tank and does increased damage every 10 seconds. Now, I had to do some really weird stuff in pushing them away, and then trying to get around shape-shifting and then running back into the pack. Basically, the problem was the people I was with did not understand what they had to do. The Pally was not tracking my freedom, was not tracking my stacks, and then when I called for freedom, he usually didn't send it. So unfortunately for me, we didn't have a poison the spell. The Chamois didn't take poison totem. So it was a bit of a struggle, having to use a Vortex to trap them, and then let my stacks almost drop, and then use my Typhoon to push them away. It was challenging. It was not a fun key. I wouldn't recommend going into that key without someone who can dispel poison, or at least 2 of those, or a Tiger's Lust, or a Freedom. Those are huge, basically used on cooldown, so you can do some of those bigger pulls. Otherwise, I had to pull Everbloom slow, and that is why we failed a 16 Everbloom, but we got through it, which means we should have some decent loot. Let's take a look at what we got. So I'm going to roll Guardian, leave it as is, and let's open it up and see what we get. Druid got 0 upgrades. I failed all the rolls on pieces. Alright, so we got Withered Bark, and we got Feet, Indestructible Feet as well, which can also be used for balance, which I do want to start playing. Alright, so overall, Trinket's not a bad choice. It would replace my Anvil. I would keep Beacon, of course. It is another Mastery stack. Anvil is really nice, though, for picking up big pulls. Let's go with the Trinket. Let's replace the Anvil, and let's see how we do this week. And let's see what we got for our key. 15 Morazon's Rise. Ugh. That may be a little difficult in Mythic Plus this week due to it being tyrannical, but hey, I'll see you guys on the next one. Take care.